A 2023 Sea Ray Sundancer sits on a Florida auction block. The odometer reads 38 hours. The original sticker price was $187,000. The opening bid comes in at $112,000. No takers. The auctioneer drops it to $98,000. Still nothing. Finally, a dealer raises a paddle at $89,000. That's a 52% loss in under 2 years on a boat that's barely been used. This is not an isolated case. Across America, nearly new boats with under 50 hours are flooding the market. These are not worn-out vessels. They are practically showroom condition. But buyers will not touch them at anywhere near original price. Dealers are panicking. Private sellers are watching their equity evaporate. And the boats just keep piling up. What's happening is not a simple correction. It's a structural collapse built on bad timing, easy money, and a wave of regret that is still building. The used boat market has entered freefall, and almost new inventory is leading the crash. The modern used boat market used to follow predictable rules. A boat lost about 15 to 20% in year 1. After that, depreciation slowed. By year 3, values stabilized. Boats with low hours held premium pricing. Anything under 100 hours was considered lightly used. Under 50 hours was nearly new, and sellers could command strong prices. This system worked because supply stayed balanced. Most buyers kept their boats for 5 to 7 years. Trade-ins arrived slowly. Dealers could manage inventory. Private sales moved at a steady pace. The market absorbed used boats without major shocks. Low-hour boats were especially rare. Serious boaters put on 40 to 60 hours per season. A boat with under 50 total hours meant the owner barely used it for one summer. That rarity created value. Buyers paid more for low hours because they knew the engine, hull, and systems were barely broken in. But that scarcity depended on one thing: buyers holding onto their boats. When that behavior changed, the entire used market shifted. And in 2025, it is not shifting. It is collapsing under the weight of thousands of nearly new boats that nobody wants at anywhere near purchase price. The collapse didn't start in 2025. It started in late 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic buying frenzy. Boat sales exploded. First-time buyers rushed in. Many had no real boating experience. They saw lifestyle ads, watched YouTube videos, and imagined weekends on the water. Financing was easy. Interest rates sat near historic lows. Approval took hours, not days. Manufacturers couldn't keep up. Wait times stretched to 12 months or longer. Dealers marked up boats by 20 to 30% over MSRP. Buyers paid it anyway. They didn't want to wait. In 2021 alone, new boat sales hit 320,000 units, the highest level in 13 years. Used boat prices also spiked. Anything floating with a working engine sold fast. But beneath the excitement, warning signs appeared. Survey data showed that 40% of pandemic boat buyers had never owned a boat before. Another 25% hadn't owned one in over a decade. These weren't experienced boaters. They were impulse buyers caught up in a moment. By late 2022, usage patterns revealed the problem. Many of these new owners put fewer than 30 hours on their boats in the first year. Some never even made it past 15 hours. The excitement faded. Maintenance costs surprised them. Marina fees added up. Winter storage bills arrived. And the boats sat unused, racking up debt, but no hours. Consider a real-world example from a Tampa dealership. In June 2021, a couple bought a brand new 2021 Regal 26 OBX Bowrider. The purchase price was $94,000. They financed $85,000 at 4.2% over 15 years. Their monthly payment was $630. $38. They were thrilled. By summer 2022, the boat had 22 hours on it. They used it 4 times. They realized they hated trailering. The marina wanted $450 per month for a slip. Maintenance cost another $1,200 that year. Insurance was $890. Fuel added up fast. The dream was becoming expensive and stressful. In March 2023, they tried to sell. A local dealer offered $61,000 on trade. They owed $81,000. They could not cover the gap. They listed it privately for $78,000. No serious offers came in. They dropped it to $72,000. Still nothing. By October 2023, they were desperate. They accepted $58,000 from a broker. They had to write a check for $23,000 just to get out from under the loan. The boat now had 29 total hours. It sold again in early 2024 for $54,000. Today, that same boat sits on a lot in Clearwater listed at $48,000. It has 47 hours. In 4 years, it lost over $48,000 in value, and it is still not moving. This story is repeating across thousands of nearly new boats nationwide. The pandemic boom felt permanent to dealers and manufacturers. Orders poured in faster than production lines could handle. Dealers expanded. They added sales staff. They built larger showrooms. Manufacturers ramped up production. By mid-2022, the industry was still producing boats at peak levels, even though demand was starting to crack. Dealers kept ordering because they believed the waitlists were real. But many buyers on those lists had already changed their minds. Others had bought used. Some lost financing approval as interest rates rose. The waitlists were phantom demand. By late 2022, boats started arriving to dealers who suddenly had no buyers. Prices stayed inflated through most of 2022. Dealers convinced themselves the market was just pausing. They kept pricing high. They refused to discount, but buyers stopped coming. Foot traffic dropped 30% at boat shows in early 2023 compared to 2021. Online inquiries fell even harder. Meanwhile, the first wave of pandemic buyers started selling. These boats hit the market with under 50 hours. Prices undercut new inventory by 20 to 30%. Buyers who were still shopping shifted to used. Why pay full price for new when a nearly identical 2022 model with 35 hours costs $40,000 less? The false boom had created a supply surge that the real market could not absorb. And dealers were stuck holding both new and used inventory that nobody wanted. Dealers finance their inventory through floor plan loans. They borrow money to stock boats. When a boat sells, they pay off that loan and keep the profit. But when boats do not sell, interest keeps accumulating. In 2021, floor plan rates averaged around 3.5%. By 2024, those rates hit 8 to 9%. A $120,000 boat now costs a dealer about $750 per month just in interest. Boats that sat for 6 months became expensive problems. After a year, a dealer could have $9,000 in interest charges on a single unsold unit. Multiply that across 40 or 50 boats, and the monthly bleeding becomes unsustainable. Dealers had 2 choices: discount heavily or send boats to auction. Auctions became flooded. In 2023, Manheim and Copart reported a 62% increase in recreational boat listings compared to 2019. Wholesale prices dropped fast. Boats that had retailed for $95,000 were hammering out at $58,000 to $62,000. Dealers who bought at auction turned around and listed them for $68,000 to $72,000, undercutting manufacturers and other dealers who were still trying to move older inventory at higher prices. This created a downward price spiral. Every auction set a new comparable sale. Every comparable sale pulled retail pricing lower. Buyers started waiting, knowing prices would drop further. Sellers panicked and listed even lower to move inventory fast. The debt pressure turned into a market-wide race to the bottom. Modern boats are loaded with technology. Digital displays, GPS chart plotters, integrated sound systems, joystick docking, advanced engine management systems. These features sold boats during the boom, but they are now creating resale problems. When something breaks, repairs are expensive and slow. A failed touchscreen display can cost $2,800 to $4,500 to replace. Joystick control modules run $3,200 to $5,000. Engine computer systems can hit $6,000 or more. Parts often take weeks to arrive. Marine technicians are booked months out. A simple electrical fault can ground a boat for 45 days while waiting for a part and service appointment. Repairs add up, and the costs are often unexpected. Buyers looking at used boats with under 50 hours worry about these systems. Even with low usage, electronics can fail. Corrosion happens in saltwater environments regardless of hours. Buyers ask for pre-purchase inspections. They find small faults, and they use them to negotiate the price down another 5 to 10%. Sellers who refuse lose the sale entirely. Warranty coverage adds another layer of confusion. Most manufacturers offer 3 to 5 year warranties. Warranties often do not transfer cleanly to second or third owners. Some require dealer verification. Others have mileage or hour caps. A boat with 48 hours might still have warranty coverage, but the buyer cannot confirm it without contacting the manufacturer. That uncertainty kills deals. Technology was supposed to make boats more appealing. Instead, it is making nearly new boats harder to sell at any price. The collapse hits different brands and categories in different ways. Bow riders and sport boats are getting hammered hardest. Models from Sea Ray, Chaparral, and Regal that sold for $80,000 to $150,000 in 2021 are now listed at 50 to 65% of original price. These boats appeal to recreational families, the same demographic that overextended during the pandemic. Supply is heavy and demand is nearly gone. Center consoles in the 25 to 30 foot range are also struggling. Brands like Robalo, Sportsman, and Grady White held value better through 2023, but even they are sliding now. A 2022 Grady White Freedom, $285 with 42 hours, recently sold for $121,000. The original owner paid $178,000. That's a 32% loss in 3 years on one of the most respected brands in the industry. Pontoon boats are seeing the steepest unit volume drops. Bennington, Avalon, and Harris sold thousands of units to first-time buyers in 2021 and 2022. Now the used market is flooded. Pontoons with under 50 hours are listed $15,000 to $20,000 below comparable new models. Dealers can't move new pontoons when used options sit right next door at massive discounts. Luxury cruisers over 40 feet are holding slightly better, but only because supply is lower. However, even in this segment, a 2023 Tiara 43 LS with 31 hours, listed at $689,000, recently dropped to $615,000 after sitting for 9 months. The pressure is reaching every corner of the market. Real people are trapped in this collapse. A Michigan couple bought a 2022 Monterey 298 SS in spring 2022 for $168,000. They financed $145,000. By summer 2024, they needed to sell due to a job relocation. The boat had 46 hours. Dealers offered $92,000 on trade. They owed $138,000. They could not sell without taking a $46,000 loss they did not have. They tried listing privately. No bites at $135,000. They dropped to $119,000. One lowball offer came in at $88,000. They rejected it. Now they are paying $1,087 per month on a boat sitting in storage 600 miles away. They are stuck until they can save enough to cover the gap or accept financial devastation. A Florida retiree bought a 2021 Scout 255 LXF for $141,000. He used it twice. Health issues kept him off the water. The boat has 38 hours. He listed it for $108,000 in early 2024. It is now at $94,000. He has received 2 offers, both under $80,000. He paid cash, so he will not owe money, but he will lose over $60,000 on a boat he barely touched. His retirement savings take the hit. These are not rare stories. Online forums are filled with similar situations. People who thought they were buying toys are stuck with depreciating anchors draining their finances every month. Marinas are feeling the pressure too. Slip occupancy rates are dropping. A South Carolina marina reported that 18% of their annual slips went unfilled in 2024, compared to a wait list in 2021. Boats are being pulled out and sold or abandoned. Monthly slip fees of $400 to $800 become unaffordable when the boat itself is losing value. Marine service centers are experiencing a strange split. Routine maintenance is down because fewer people are actively using their boats. Repair backlogs remain high because owners are trying to prepare boats for sale. They need systems working to pass inspections. A Fort Lauderdale service yard reported 340 hours of backlogged work in November 2024, but most jobs were pre-sale inspections and minor repairs, not regular seasonal maintenance. Storage facilities are filling up with boats waiting to sell. Dry stack storage in particular is clogged. Owners pay $200 to $350 per month to store boats they are trying to offload. Some facilities now have boats that have not moved in over a year. The owners keep paying storage fees while the boats sit listed online, slowly losing value. Coastal towns that depend on boating tourism are also seeing impacts. Fuel dock sales are down. Waterfront restaurants report fewer transient boaters. Tackle shops and marine supply stores are cutting inventory. When thousands of boats sit unused with under 50 hours, the entire ecosystem around recreational boating contracts. The market now faces 2 potential paths. The first is a reset. Prices fall far enough that value buyers step in. Boats stabilize at 40 to 50% below 2021 peaks. Inventory clears over 18 to 24 months. Dealers survive by cutting staff and reducing overhead. Manufacturers slow production to match real demand. By late 2026, the market reaches a new equilibrium. Low-hour used boats find buyers at realistic prices. The industry is smaller but stable. The second path is a prolonged reckoning. Prices keep falling as more distressed sellers dump inventory. Dealer bankruptcies accelerate through 2025 and 2026. Manufacturers shut down production lines. Repossessions spike as buyers with high-rate loans walk away. Auction prices drop another 20%. Banks tighten lending, making it harder for even qualified buyers to get financing. The market enters a multi-year depression. Boats with under 50 hours sell for less than half of their original price, and even then, they move slowly. Indicators point both ways. Auction volume remains elevated, suggesting supply has not peaked. But foot traffic at spring boat shows in 2025 is up slightly, hinting that buyer interest might be returning at lower prices. Interest rates are stabilizing, which could help financing. But consumer confidence in big-ticket purchases remains weak. The collapse is real. Whether it ends in reset or reckoning depends on how fast prices fall and whether buyers believe the bottom is near. Watch for specific signs to understand where this market is heading. First, track auction sale through rates. If boats are hammering sold at 70% or higher, it means buyers are active and prices are finding floors. If sale through rates stay below 50%, inventory is still too high and prices have not dropped enough. Second, monitor dealer inventory aging. Check online listings for how long boats sit. If boats with under 50 hours are moving within 60 to 90 days, the market is stabilizing. If they sit for 6 months or longer with multiple price drops, the collapse is still accelerating. Third, watch interest rates and lending standards. If boat loan rates fall below 7% and lenders start approving buyers with lower credit scores, financing is loosening. That brings buyers back. If rates stay high and banks tighten standards further, the market stays frozen. Fourth, check repossessions numbers. Industry data sources and marine lenders occasionally release repossession statistics. If repossessions are declining quarter over quarter, the worst may be over. If they are rising, more distressed inventory is coming. Finally, pay attention to manufacturer production announcements. If major brands announce factory slowdowns or worker furloughs, they are acknowledging weak demand. If they start hiring or announcing new models, they believe recovery is near. Together, these signals will show whether nearly new boats are approaching a buyable bottom, or if the collapse still has further to fall.